Did you know that when you go to church, everything is planned and staged? From the moment you drive onto the property, you're being manipulated. Why do you think they're...
Okay, so planning does not equal manipulation. Preparation, diligence does not equal manipulation. But let's just keep listening.
Why do you think they're holding signs in the parking lot telling you that you're family when they've never met you? And the happy, shiny people that are greeting you at the door, they're trained. And if you're a first-time guest...
Yes, the people who greet you at the door are trained. And this is very interesting because I came up in a charismatic church, so I know exactly what she's talking about. We would have boards, signboards that say welcome home, saying you belong here. And when we got up on stage, we would say welcome home. And I don't necessarily think that that's manipulation. I don't think that that is some kind of trickery. What we're trying to do is we're trying to develop and build a community where people feel like they belong. So we would do that. And you want to make sure that the people who are greeting at the door know what they're doing. You don't want to have a bunch of dead people at the door who can't greet people, who are not nice, who don't smile. So we make sure that those people know exactly what they're doing.
If you're a first-time guest, you're going to get swag, you're going to get gift cards, maybe even free coffee from the church cafe. Then there's the pre-service.
Yes, we will also do that. And there are churches that do that. If you are new here, if it's your first time, go over today to the back and get yourself some coffee. We just want to meet you, say hi to you. And if you're looking for a church home, this could be it for you.
Then there's the pre-service music, the countdown, the worship set, the transitions, the announcements, the offering, the message, the altar call, the dismissal, and your exit. All planned. I was on a worship team and we had a green room.
Yes, it's planned. It's planned. It should be planned. You need to plan these things. You can't just go out there and just do things. You have to plan these things once again. And planning does not equal manipulation. But hopefully there's a real point here that's being made.
And we were told to not stay in the green room before the service and in between services, but to go into the lobby and talk to people to make people feel connected. So that when they see you on the stage, they can relate to you. And to make sure that...
Funny enough, this is also something that I was taught as well. So when I started off, I wasn't preaching. My job would be to go on stage and welcome people and make announcements, little things like that, you know, transitions, stuff like that. And we also had a rule that, you know, musicians, somebody who's speaking on stage, nobody just sits in the green room or wherever they want to sit in private, pray wherever. Pray before you get here. When you get here, mingle with the people, greet people. Don't be untouchable. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And to make sure that that worship set is clean and there's no hiccups, we've already done a run-through. We've already practiced the entire set several times. One time I was doing a special song after the...
Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with preparing. As a matter of fact, I wish more churches were well prepared. I wish that more churches could take some time, especially when it comes to their worship music. I wish more churches could take time to prepare. If you're going to have people singing in front, just because Ms. Dorcas has been coming here for 10 years and she's passionate about singing doesn't mean that she should be in front. If she's great, then great. But if she can't really sing, then choose somebody else. Anyway, point is, planning does not mean manipulation.
Song after the message, and during the run-through, the lead pastor was watching me to make sure that I was doing it the way he wanted. And it wasn't even a worship song, it was a song to be performed. So I was sitting on a stool and I had my eyes open. And so he comes over and tells me, you need to close your eyes so that people are feeling the moment. And so I did, and it gave the vibe that he wanted. During worship sets,
I can only imagine that. I can only imagine that moment. Listen, just make sure that you close your eyes. You see that part over there? Make sure that you close your eyes so that people can feel you. That's very interesting. I have nothing to say about that.
Worship leaders are told whether they can say something, when they can say it, and how long they have to say it. And the pastors have rehearsed and rehearsed their sermon like...
You know why that's important? The reason why that's important is because as you know, if you're a part of a church believes a certain thing. A church has its own doctrine. And oftentimes, what happens is you can end up having the worship leaders who come from different church backgrounds, who believe different things. And so you don't always know who you got up there. And just because people can sing well doesn't mean that they should also be given permission to just speak, and we just assume that what they have to say is brilliant, right? If their job is to sing, oftentimes it's a good idea to say to them, as a rule, especially if we don't trust you, we don't have to say we don't trust you, but as a rule, go up there and do what you have to do. There are people who have been designated to come up here and sing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Like a speech, even down to the pause when they're gonna get emotional.
Get emotional? Listen, my thing is, if you don't want to go to church, just say so. If you don't want to go to church, just say you don't want to go to church. Because, yes, the messages have to be prepared. Again, I wish more pastors, more preachers would take time to prepare their messages. You have to prepare it. What do you mean, get emotional? You have to prepare. You have to make sure that when you get up there, you know what you're talking about. People are taking time out of their Sunday to come and listen to you, to sit there and receive from you. And you have to at least put some effort into preparing your message.
All of it is structured to emotionally manipulate you and make you feel like you belong. Because if you feel like you belong, you'll be more willing to serve or to give free labor. And you'll be loyal and you'll invite your friends and continue the cycle. And all of this for one reason: money, baby.
It sounds like what she's saying is so brilliant, and it's such a wow, a shocker, an expose. But first of all, a church is run on volunteers, right? Free labor, as she calls it, but many organizations work on volunteers. Even corporations work on volunteers, right? There are people who are willing to commit their time to certain causes, and there's nothing different with the church. It also needs volunteers in order to run, right? And when it comes to just the planning of everything, planning cannot be seen as manipulation. Yes, and I'll tell you this. When I used to work for a church, we used to sit around the table and say, how are we going to do the service this Sunday? At what point do we want to do this? Do you think this song fits over there? No, let's remove this song from there because it doesn't fit. Let's make sure that we don't do that over there because it's too distracting. Let's make sure that we do this over there because it might resonate better with the people. You have to plan it. You have to prepare. You have to make some kind of effort if these people, these families are going to be in the room and are trying to get something of value. One of the things that I don't like is going to churches where people say that they are quote unquote just being led by the Spirit, and they're using that as a cop out for not preparing, for not working, for not putting in any effort. And so the pastor the whole week was just chilling, and then on Sunday just picked up a Bible and said, the Spirit will tell me what to say. Sit down, do some Bible study, go through your message, know what you're going to tell the people. But my biggest issue with videos like this one is that this is one of those things that makes it very easy for people who are actually manipulating people, because what I'm not trying to say that there aren't churches that are actually manipulating people. Yes, there are churches which are manipulating people. There are churches which are really, really dangerous. And when you do something such as what she's doing, which is just painting church in general as a manipulative place, it makes it very easy for those manipulative churches to hide within the crowd. It's the same thing as racism. One of the biggest problems with racism is that what happens is that you have people who say that everything is racism, and then the real racists and bigots get to hide behind all of that. So it's very important to understand this. I really do believe that everyone needs to, at some point in their lives, belong to some kind of church home. I found great value in it. I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have grown as much as I have if I didn't have a church home. So I really encourage it, and know what you want over there. Know why you are over there. And if you ever feel like your time over there is up, go to a different one. Just leave and go to a different one. But I really do believe in the church. I believe that great churches can strengthen communities. Great churches can bring up children in the way that they should go. Great churches can bring up young adults who are going to be impactful in society. So I believe that the church is necessary. I believe in the church, and I do think that out there are some manipulative churches. There are some really dangerous people and places that you have to watch out for. But don't ever fall into the trap of thinking that church is a place of manipulation.